Good morning, and welcome to our morning conversation. This week's preaching lesson is about Daniel in the lion's den, a familiar story that's often used to illustrate faithfulness in the face of pressure and danger, trusting in God to see us through difficult times, and God's ability to rescue and save. And so I wanted to talk a little bit to my friend here today about a story that she has that illustrates one of those times. Carol, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you're connected to Trinity?
I'm Carol Markovitz Gearing, and we have been members of Trinity for, oh dear, on the 21st, it was 6 years.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I should say we moved here 6 years ago.
The 21st, yeah, okay.
On the 21st of December. And of course, we knew Pastor Mike and Pastor Klepper before that, because as you noticed, I used two names. And so Tim Markovitz is my brother, and that's one of the reasons why we moved here.
Sure.
When Harry retired. So, I've been, I have to say past tense because we haven't been able to do it, but I am a member of fellowship, and we do the quilter, not the quilters, the comfort stitchers.
Yep.
And anybody else that has had the prayer chain, I've been involved in a little bit of everything, really.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we really value all the contributions that you guys make to us. We're glad to have you here. So, Carol, you have a story about a time that you had to trust in God even when you were afraid or when you were kind of in a difficult circumstance. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Almost 10 years ago, I had to learn to trust God fully. I've always trusted God, but you know how you want to take a little control, and I had a stroke, and when it happened, I had major surgery, and I was home for one day, and I had a stroke, and it was like I couldn't do anything. I kept saying, God, what's going on? And I could mentally feel it, but yet I couldn't talk. I couldn't move my whole one side of my body. And on the way to the hospital, I kept praying, God, if it's your will, I'm ready to go. But that's all I kept thinking. You know, I'm here, I'm ready. If you want to take me, fine. And when we got to the hospital, they kept saying, you know, they don't know why. They thought a blood clot because I had had surgery.
Right.
And so within 24 hours, I had total movement. In 48 hours, I had all my cognitive, but it was about 99 point something or other that I could talk, I could get up, I could move everything. And I contribute that to prayer, because the moment that Harry saw that I was having a stroke, he called our prayer chain at church.
Oh my gosh.
And I had prayer from the United States and America and a country.
Yeah, all around.
All over. I
Wow.
mean, it was constant prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I contribute that to the prayer as well as my constant praying
Yeah.
in the hospital.
Yeah.
That from, you know, I kept saying, Lord, if you want me, fine. But if you want me here for some reason,
Mm.
um, let me know, is what I said.
Yeah.
To this day, um, even with the COVID, I talk to him. I'm constantly talking to
Yeah.
God. And my friends from Bible studies that I take at Trinity,
Right.
they're always saying, it's God's will, it's not mine.
Yep.
I have no control over it. I
Mm.
think that everything that we do,
Yeah.
God is there.
With the stroke, you came right up to the cliff's edge of your own mortality. And, you know, when you come to a moment like that, trusting God is all we have, you know, like trust that, like you said, if it's the plan for me to go, then I'm ready to go. And if it's the plan for me to stay, then I'm ready to stay. And that's a really powerful moment.
Sometimes we just don't want to give that control away.
Yeah.
And God does little things that say, okay, you know,
Just a reminder, you're not in charge.
just a reminder, you're not, we don't want to yield.
Yeah.
And, but yet our faith says that we should.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, we have to have that understanding, no matter whether it's a good time or a bad time.
Yeah.
You know, God is in control.
I feel like an experience like the one you had is the kind of thing that teaches you to trust in that, you know, that you can't really fully embrace the idea that you're not in control until you're right up against it and you can't do anything. You know, the only thing you can do is pray, you know, let this go the way you
Right.
want it to go.
One of the things that happened after the stroke is that when I lived in Ohio at our church, we had uh, a group of us Bible study people.
Mm.
We had we had 10 acres on our church property that wasn't being used,
Yeah.
and we a group of us decided that we were going to do a labyrinth and a prayer path, so that the community, we got the community involved in it. And one of the things that I did was that I did the devotions. And I always, for 2.5 years, I did a daily devotion online.
Oh my God.
So, and I still do them, but not as much. As I'm getting older, I am finding that I can't do it as fast.
Well, and it's the kind of thing where other people step up and help,
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah. But that's so the prayer path is through the labyrinth. It's a contemplative prayer exercise, right? Just for people
We took, there are 14 stations
okay.
that we can go through the prayer path itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a labyrinth that is a Chartier's labyrinth that it's circular,
Gotcha.
and you walk in and then walk back out.
Yes.
To pray.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so
Yeah, that's something I know is right up your alley, and it's right up my alley. Just that experience of walking and contemplatively praying, or
Right.
just putting yourself in the mental and spiritual space where God is kind of present and on your mind.
He's present and he talks to you.
Yeah, you gotta just as Jesus said, let anyone with ears to listen hear.
Right.
So yeah. Well, gosh, Carol, that's a really wonderful story, and I'm very glad that you're okay, but I'm also very glad that you got such a rich, blessing of being able to share that story, and also being able to share, your faith in God's presence and in God's sort of guiding us even through the toughest times, because you shared that at your church in Ohio, and you're sharing that now with us at Trinity, and we really, really benefit and are strengthened by it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was great to talk to you today. I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation. You keep on going, keep on walking, keep on praying, and and I hope you have a really great day.
And thank you. You too.
Yep. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.